Hi, my name is Seth David, and I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about a question that I get asked a lot, which is, what do you do? What's Nerd Enterprises all about? A lot of people want to know that. They say they see me posting all this stuff on the web and they just don't get it. Well, the simple and quick answer is that we offer bookkeeping, accounting, and financial management services to mostly small companies and some individuals. But there's a bigger answer to that question, I think, which deserves a little bit more than that, 10-second response. And I guess the best way I can explain it is as follows. When I get a new client, they come to me, and in most cases, the books are a mess. They've had bookkeepers come in and, they wanted them to clean it up, and for whatever reason, they weren't able to. It didn't work out. And so they hire me usually to clean up a messy situation in terms of their accounting. And what the first thing I do is I'm going to go through their balance sheet, their profit and loss, and in some cases their statement of cash flows. And what that means for the non-accountant is that I'm going to take a deep look at the transactions of the company. I'm going to look at where the money's coming from when it comes in and where the money went when it was spent. And what that's going to do is a few things. It's going to give me some insight, of course, into what the finances of the company look like. But in the bigger picture, taking a step back, this gives me some insight into what the company's doing. In fact, behind every company, of course, there's an individual, especially since I'm dealing again with smaller companies. And I get some insight into where you like to eat. What kind of restaurants do you like? Do you like fast food? How often do you travel? Where do you travel? I see all that stuff because I'm going through the transactions, and the simple reality of it in business and in our personal lives is that everything we do eventually is going to touch the finances in some way, shape, or form. It's one of the things I really like about it, because for me it's not just about looking at numbers, it's about looking at those numbers and asking myself, what does this tell me? And when I do that, what it does is it gives me some bigger insights, more important, larger picture insights, because again, the person I'm working with is an individual as well as a company. And at some point I'm going to sit down with that person. I'm going to say, what are your goals? Why'd you start a business? What do you want to do? Why am I here? I understand you want me to clean up your accounting, but for what purpose? Is it just to file a tax return, or do you have some other goals in mind? Do you want to build the company? Are you comfortable with where it's at? Those are the kinds of questions I start to ask and get a sense about, and usually I'm always thinking in terms of how can we make this situation, how can we make this company grow? How can we make the company do even better? And what does that translate to? What does it mean to do better? Well, one of the questions I like to pose out there is, who wants to make more money? We all want to make more money, but not everybody wants to own a business. So that's not the reason why we start a business. It's not to make more money. The reason we start a business is the freedom. Because having my own business means I have the freedom. I can decide what I want to do, when I want to do, with whom I want to do it. And that's what I want to focus on. I've been talking a lot and writing a lot lately. If you look at my stuff on the web, if you're one of the people who reads my blogs, I talk about surroundings a lot lately. It's a big issue with me, is surroundings, and how important it is for me to create the surroundings based on the environment that I want to create for myself. To me, that's what starting a business is really all about. When I was in my third and final rehab, cleaning up from drugs and alcohol, I remember sitting there in a group one day and complaining that I'm in a rehab, I'm surrounded by people, not all of them are people I really want to be around. Some of them are there for the wrong reasons. They were sent by the court. They don't really want to get clean. And I was at a point where I wanted to get clean. I wanted to turn my life around. I wanted to build a better life for myself. I wanted to create a new environment and a new surrounding for myself to live in. And it was conducive to a positive, forward-moving type of attitude towards things. So I didn't necessarily want to be around all the people, but I was forced to because I was in a rehab. Of course, I could have gotten up and left, but obviously I didn't want to do that because the consequences of that, in my opinion, at that point would be much worse. But somebody made the point back to me that, hey, you're not going to escape this just because you walk out of rehab at some point. You're going to go get a job and you're going to be in an environment where somebody else has hired the people, and based on that, you're going to potentially be surrounded by people you don't want to be around. And I thought, you know what, he's absolutely right. And then I thought about it some more, and I said, you know what, he's absolutely wrong. Because nobody has some rule in place that says Seth David has to work at a job his whole life. And I realized I can start my own business. I didn't know what it was going to be at the time. I just knew that at that point, if I really wanted to be able to create the life and environment I wanted to create for myself on all levels and in the whole picture, then what that meant was I was going to have to start my own business. I was going to have to work for myself at some point, because that's the only way that I could really pick and choose whom I want to surround myself with all the time. And it's funny, people ask me, Seth, why do you work so much? You work too much. When are you going to take it easy? And my response to that is, what are you talking about? I don't work. I do what I love to do. I can't wait to get up every day and get into my day and do the things that I'm doing, because I do everything that I love to do and virtually none of the things that I don't love to do. And I've written about that recently if you read my newsletters. So I believe that everyone out there can do what I've done. And I'm not saying everyone has to go out and start their own business, although actually I think that would be great. But it doesn't mean that you can't do what I'm doing in the generic sense in terms of creating my environment. You just have to think about, what does that translate to in your own experience? How can I go out there and create the environment that I want to create for myself? I work with these business owners, and that's what we work on. And I say, okay, you've gotten there. You've got your own business. You've got the freedom. What's your environment like? Are you working too much? Do you want more free time, and do you want to increase profits? Most of them say yes. And I say, great, let's figure out ways to do that. It's about working smarter, not harder, which means I'm going to show people how to leverage the technology that's out there to help their businesses run more efficiently. And if you think this doesn't apply in your personal life, think again. Because even if I think in terms of, well, if I invite people over, that doesn't touch my finances, you bet it does. Because I'm going to go out to Costco or a supermarket or something, and I'm going to buy some food to entertain people with. Maybe I'm going to rent a movie, or maybe we're going to go out somewhere and spend the day together, and more than likely, there's going to be a cost involved somewhere along the way. That's what I mean. As much as we don't like to think about it and admit it, the truth is everything we do just about at some point eventually hits our finances in some way, shape, or form. So why not, as long as that's true, bring that into the bigger picture and think in terms of how can I use that to create the environment I want to create for myself. It applies in both personal and business finances. And based on this philosophy, what I want to do is the following. I want to invite you to join me in two places. The first place is a blog that I started at the urgence of a friend of mine in New York, a longtime friend, who asked me to set up something motivational and productivity based. So I said, I don't like the idea of motivational gurus. I'm not Anthony Robbins, and I respect Anthony Robbins, by the way. I know some people who have bought his tapes and have said great things about them. But that's not what I want to do. But I did create a blog that's about what I prefer to call productivity consulting. Because to me, if I'm productive, I'm going to be motivated. Because I'm going to feel good about what I'm doing. I'm going to feel good that I'm getting things done. And that's going to get and keep me motivated. But there's other things I do on a philosophical, on a spiritual level, frankly, that help me stay motivated every day. And that's what this blog is all about. And if you go there, I'll post the link wherever you're hearing this message, whether it's just an audio file or if it's the video. I'm going to make sure the links are there. But you go to youramiracle.com, and you can read the blog, and please come in there and post things. I would love to get dialogue going. So far, it's just me out there posting. I know people read it because they tell me, they email me, but I would love to see some posting there. And also, while you're there, you can sign up to receive, absolutely free of charge, a daily motivator. They're 3 minutes long. Every day you get an email early in the morning with an envelope you can click on to download a 3-minute daily motivator that I record. It's an audio file that I record, and I just talk about some of the same stuff, the principles and philosophies that I employ in order to get myself upbeat and motivated on a daily basis. I'm also going to talk about a lot of productivity. I'm going to talk about some of the software programs that I use on the computer to help me stay organized, because again, when I'm organized, I'm productive, I feel good about what I'm doing, and that translates to being motivated and being excited about what I'm doing. And that's my mantra there, is you're a miracle. Get excited about today. You can accomplish anything you want to. Your potential is unlimited. You can do whatever you want. And I firmly believe that. That's not just talk with me. Finally, the other place I want to invite you to is, again, conducive to wanting to create the environment that I want to create. And if you've gotten this far and you've taken the time to listen to this video, then there's a good chance you're a person like-minded to me. And so I want to invite you to join the Nerd Enterprises Incorporated community. Again, totally free. I don't need any money. I just want to invite people and bring them together. And I want you to go out there with a mindset of, I want to go see who else is out there and see how I can help people. That's what I want to create here. I want to create a community of people who are out there looking, not saying, where can I get something, but how can I help? Go out there and be of service to people. Wayne Dyer talks about it. It's one of the basic principles we talk about in AA, is being of service, going out there and helping people. So please, come on in, join me in my community, youramiracle.com and the Nerd Enterprises Inc. community. I'm going to post both links wherever I post this video and the audio file. I hope to see you online, and I hope this cleared a few things up for a few people.